Time is 12 minutes to 9. A survey by the AA suggests that London drivers are the most likely to look out for cyclists on the road. But of almost 18,000 drivers across the country questioned, 93% did admit that it was sometimes hard to see cyclists when you were driving. The AA has launched a campaign to remind drivers to do what they're calling a double take in their mirrors to check for bikes and motorbikes. Earlier we spoke to its president, Edmund King.
We were asking their attitudes about cyclists and indeed motorcyclists, and I think the most surprising thing was some 85% of drivers think that motorcyclists are sometimes hard to see, and indeed more than that, 93% think cyclists are hard to see.
Well, joining us now is Donnachadh McCarthy, co-founder of the campaign group Stop Killing Cyclists, which calls for the better design of road networks. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. So does this ring true to you that essentially drivers in London are pretty good at looking out for cyclists?
They are better than other people in other parts of the country because there are more cyclists in London, but with 10,000 cyclists and pedestrians killed and injured since 2008, we obviously have a problem in London as well.
Is part of the problem the fact that cyclists also sometimes don't make themselves more visible?
So basically, that would imply that all pedestrians and all cyclists need to wear high-vis jackets.
No, not pedestrians, because pedestrians don't share the road and don't go kind of, down the middle of the road, do they? Kind of just
pedestrians
for huge,
have been killed in larger numbers.
Yes, I know. I'm talking about pedestrians, but we're talking specifically about cyclists today. And I know, and I'm a driver, and I consider myself a careful driver.
Good.
But there are times when I'm surprised by a cyclist bombing along with no lights on, in dark clothing, with a dark hat, and all I can see are the whites of his eyes as he sort of shoots past, rather surprised and surprising me as well.
In Holland, people don't wear high-vis jackets, and the
Holland is a very different kettle of fish, though, isn't it?
Why do you keep saying that?
It is, because I've cycled.
Guys, it's the first time Penny said that. She doesn't keep saying it.
No, I do say that, and I do say it a lot, because I've cycled in Holland, and it's much easier. The roads are flat. There aren't, if you look at the population of Holland...
You keep saying Amsterdam is flat. London is largely a flat city. We can actually make London a safe city like Amsterdam if we invest in the infrastructure that Amsterdam has done. It is no different.
Okay, we'll have to beg to differ, because I've lived in Amsterdam before, and the point is that essentially it's it's almost impossible to keep a car there. You can't find anywhere to park. The roads are incredibly small. It just becomes so ridiculous that everybody cycles, and if everybody cycles, then you're not sharing the roads.
The journeys that Londoners take are not similar as in Amsterdam. The lengths are the same. So therefore, if we actually look at Amsterdam positively, we can look as an inspiration for London, and therefore we can actually have a safe infrastructure so that drivers and cyclists are not in conflict with each other.
Turning away from the high-vis jacket issue and the Amsterdam comparisons, do you think, though, and again, we're not trying to put the blame for anything of this on cyclists, but actually there is almost a need for greater, for example, lighting on bikes in London? I was driving in on the A40 this morning. There was a cyclist in front of me. I could see him from about a mile away because he had almost a kind of strobe light on the back of his bike.
Fully, everybody accepts that at night time, all road users using vehicles, whether cyclists or drivers, need to have light. No problem with that. But the real problem in London and in Britain is two things. First of all, we don't have a cycling infrastructure. The Mayor of London and the government are spending absolutely crumbs on cycling safety. And the second issue is the issue of presumed liability. In Holland and other countries on the continent, it's the driver's responsibility. It's presumed responsibility if somebody's killed or injured. In this country, it's presumed that it's the pedestrian or the cyclist's fault if they get killed or injured. That needs to change.
Do you mean presumed in law then, Donnachadh?
Pardon?
Do you mean presumed in law, or the assumption?
Presumed liability. It means that the presumption is with the person, the vehicle.
Are you sure?
Pardon?
Are you sure that that's the case? That the cyclists are presumed liable for the first thing is the cyclist was at fault?
Yes, in this country, if you get killed or injured as a pedestrian or as a cyclist, the presumption is therefore is that it's your fault and that you pay the costs and you pay. There's no compensation from the insurance companies. It's the complete opposite in Holland and other European countries, and that puts a huge pressure on the driver to be safe and to see us. The AA are absolutely right. we don't appear out of nowhere on the road. Cyclists are on the road, and drivers need to pay attention when they're driving. As this survey says, some of them aren't doing so.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Donnachadh McCarthy there, co-founder of the campaign group Stop Killing Cyclists, talking to BBC London 94.9, which is now 8:53.